Good evening, everyone on YouTube. I believe you're hearing me and seeing me and all that stuff. So feel free to like, feel free to like, share, because we are going to go through as much as everything that students need to know in preparation, for me, not me, January 2026 examinations. Okay, so I see I'm streaming on YouTube. I don't know why it's not allowing me to stream on Facebook. Also, okay, so I think I'll have to may not be able to do the Instagram. I'm thinking whether I'll be able to do the Instagram. Mm, so I thought this was going to allow me to live stream on multiple platforms, but it's only giving me the option to live stream on one platform. Okay. All right. So I think I'll just do Facebook instead of Instagram for today. I have my other device, but I just wanted to use that device for the purpose of making sure that I flow as smoothly as possible. So I'll go live on Facebook. Sorry, Instagram family. So on Instagram, what I'll do, I'll share either the YouTube link. I'll share one of those links to Instagram so people on Instagram can see because I really wanted to be live on Instagram. Good evening to everyone in the TikTok world. Good evening to the people in the YouTube world. Don't forget to like, don't forget to share, don't forget to tell somebody. Somebody needs to know this information. Somebody needs to know. So tell a friend, a family. All right. Make sure and share because some people see sharing is caring, right? Because I don't have to be here right now. Like I could do other things that I have, right? But I know some people doesn't understand the process. Some people waste their free chances. So I'm coming here to guide some of you all, especially those of you who will be doing your own registration. Good evening to the Facebook world. So if you're on right now, don't forget to like, don't forget to share, don't forget to what's going on on Facebook. Yes, don't forget to tell a friend that we are on. We are going to be discussing and going through all the instructions for private candidates mainly, but also Form 4 and Form 5. But the information will be most useful for persons who are homeschool, persons who want to write for the first time as an adult, or which is a private candidate, persons who want to reset or repeat. So share, 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 tell someone we are on. So just give me a moment while I'm sharing. I'll be playing a video so you will hear it in the background. Once I'm finished sharing and stuff, I will do what I came here to do.
Small. Micro goals like getting up 20 minutes earlier or walking to work more often. Some are larger, like packing on 30 pounds of muscle or starting our own business. Whatever form our goals take, and however badly we might want them, we all seem to fall into the same perpetual trap. We give up before we make it to where we plan to be. Even when we know that this goal or that goal will improve our lives exponentially, making us a happier and more successful individual, we fall from the wagon early and revert back to square one. Alas, we never progress, but progression is essential. As Tony Robbins put it, setting goals is the first step in turning the invisible into the visible. None of us wants to settle for an average life It is coloured by our inability to commit to make our deepest wishes a reality. It follows, therefore, that we should strive to reach those precious goals of ours. Most of us just don't know how. I'm reading a fantastic book at the moment called Burn the Fat, Feed the Muscle by bodybuilder Tom Venuto. In it, he discloses key pieces of information about losing fat, gaining muscle, and achieving our fitness goals. In the book, Venuto splits the essentials of bodybuilding into 4 key pillars: nutrition, strength training, cardio, and most importantly, mental training. The chapter on mental training is all about goal setting and working to achieve those goals rather than giving up early like most of us do. Venuto places great emphasis on the importance of goal setting. As he writes, goals, when properly planted in your subconscious mind, provide direction and stimulate action. Goals create energy and motivation. Goals get you out of bed early in the morning and into the gym. In essence, goals are essential when it comes to improving our happiness, success rates, and overall progress in life. They're what gets us out of bed in the morning. The key to remaining motivated to actually achieve those goals, Venuto says, is to attach them to our emotions. What does this mean? Well, setting a goal to eat more protein or swear a little less is one thing. But why are we doing it? What's the point? What emotions are driving our desire to achieve that goal? If we want to lose weight, what is it within us that's sparking that wish? Perhaps we want to get fitter to provide our spouse with a more attractive partner. Or maybe we want to start taking our health seriously to avoid any serious health conditions. Whatever it is, having a clear emotional reasoning mind is essential to keeping ourselves motivated and in turn to our long-term success. But there's more to it than that. We are, invariably, whatever we focus on. If we focus on our insecurities, we become them. If we focus on our strengths, they empower us. That being said, the success of our goal-setting efforts depends not only on attaching emotions to our wishes, but also on the things we focus on. In a practical sense, this involves having a clear endpoint in mind. Say we want to lose weight is one thing, but our weight fluctuates on a daily basis. How can we succeed at losing weight if we haven't defined what losing weight actually means? Perhaps we want to lose 35 pounds before July. Maybe we want to start earning £2,000 a month by the end of 2019. Whatever our goal is, we need to get specific about what we want. Otherwise, we won't know when we've made it there, and we won't know what to focus on along the way. More, though, having that goal in mind allows us to recalibrate our efforts as we move along the path we're on. With the end in sight, we can adjust our actions along the way if we find we aren't going to make it on time. Subconsciously, our efforts will be channeled towards what we focus on, whether that's success, failure, or dropping a dress size.
Okay, so as the narrator is saying there, our efforts will be channeled to what we focus on. I know that a lot of you all want to write your CXC exams, you want to get your passes so that you can move on with your life. But you don't want to get this wrong and then regret because you did not read the instructions properly. So don't forget to like, share, tell a friend, tell somebody who would need this information. So for today, we will be focusing on Trinidad and Tobago, seeing that last night they released that January 2026 registration is already ongoing. Okay, so before you all do any registration, especially persons who will be doing it for themselves, I'm going to go through as much as everything from the registration contract, and I'm also going to show you all how you can complete your registration for yourself, whether you have a free chance, whether you have to pay. So you do not want to register until you get this information really clear. Because some people will register and they will pay and then they have a free chance and then they'll be like, can I get my free chance next year or the following year? If you don't do things right, you will lose out on your free chance. So it's important to listen. Okay, so for those who don't know me, I'm Michelle C. and Augustine, and I'll be sharing with you all how to go about completing registration for January 2026 exams, CXC exams, right? Ordinary level. Um, in the upcoming week, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'll try my best because my schedule is not very light these days. So I'll try my best and come back on in another live or so, and I will share with you which subjects are doable for January, especially for students who are not studying, who don't intend to get into a class or take their studies seriously. Because I mean, yes, January is a shorter time period, but you also want to keep in mind that the shorter time frame that you have to study a syllabus that is supposed to be done in 18 months is going to require way more effort. And depending on the subjects you choose to write, it's going to require either more or less effort depending because some subjects are easier while others are more on the complicated side. So I am going to share my screen. For those who are on TikTok, Facebook, welcome. Those on YouTube, welcome. I do apologize. Oh, I forgot to share it on Instagram, but I'll do that while I'm going through the information, right? I wanted to go live on Instagram also, but I realized I ended up with a little issue. So I most likely may not be going live on Instagram just for today, but I will still share so that it will know that we are on. So for those who are on YouTube, you all will be seeing my screen. I'm going to share my screen where you will see the registration portal. Okay. So if you are currently viewing on YouTube, you're supposed to see that my screen is shared. If you are not seeing a shared screen, you need to tell me I am not seeing anything. So I will, work on having that rectified. So for those on YouTube, I hope you all have seen my screen. You're supposed to be seeing Ministry of Education. On the top of that, you would be seeing January CSEC private candidate registration. If you are seeing that, we begin just now. I just need to inform my Instagram people that I'm live here. Okay. So let me do this really, really quickly. Really, really quickly. Um, Now I did say this is for Trinidad and Tobago candidates, correct? But if you are from another Caribbean country and you are living in Trinidad and Tobago, it does apply to you, but there are specific rules for foreigners. So some foreigners might be wondering whether, since they're living in Trinidad and Tobago, they could write exams. Yes, you can, but there are specific rules that I will get to in a while that applies for any foreigners in Trinidad and Tobago itself. Okay, so I'm getting there. You'll just give me a moment because I can't stay here long either. I have a few classes in a while also. So I'm going to try to be as quickly as I can. So as you all can see on the screen in the meanwhile, that registration began apparently on the 2nd, but they only revealed that to us yesterday. Because I was on the website, for since after May, June 2025 results was out, I've been looking on the website every single day, twice a day sometimes, and there was absolutely nothing. Okay, but at least we know now that it's time for students who want to write in January to do what they have to do to prepare themselves. And I hope that none of you all will end up being last minute. You do not want to be last minute at all. Because with last minute, if they don't extend the deadline, some students end up in a sticky situation, right? Um, right. So I think we are ready to go through this as quickly as possible. Thank you all for your patience. I do appreciate that. So here we go. As mentioned before, the instructions are, they said, please read these instructions carefully, right? And this is mainly for private candidates. So for students who are in a full-time school, daytime school, like a public school or full-time primary school, you don't have to worry too much about this unless you decide to write your examinations before your official year. So in other words, if you are in Form 4, and which means you're supposed to write in 2027, but you intend to write in 2026. Yes, this video will definitely be for you. Whether you're writing in January or May, June, it's more tailored to January, but a lot of the same information or instructions for January is in May, June. The only difference is the time period, really. Okay, so application forms. Let me zoom this up. See if I can zoom this. Right. So the saying here, application forms must be completed online. So if you think that you need to go somewhere physical to complete your registration for CXC in Trinidad and Tobago, CSEC, which is the Form 5 exams, for those who don't know what I'm speaking about, it's not a physical registration, it's an online registration. I'm actually on the site showing you all at this moment the registration document. Okay, so the registration must take place online. That's first and foremost. They also emphasize that hard copies will not be available. So if you go and visit the Ministry of Education, they are not going to provide you with the paper copies. That's what hard copies are. Only one application. And that's why you all want to make sure and pay attention to what I'm sharing in the video. Only one application each person will have for January if you choose to register. So that is why you do not want to mess up or make any errors in that application, right? So they're saying, should more than one application be submitted? If you do an application today and then you do one next week, because you say, oh, I made an error, so I need to do another one, they're not going to go through your second application. They will only go through the first one, which means the one with the error may mean that you may not get through to write. And if that was your free attempt, you wasted it. So only only the first one received will be processed. Your first application will be processed. So don't go ahead and do 1, 2, 3, 4 different applications for January. You'll need to make sure that you are clear on the instructions and be able to follow that instructions to avoid any problems with the Ministry of Education. So continuing very quickly, to complete your application, what do you need? We check section C, not C, E in a while. But you need to determine whether you need to make payment. So before I read the rest of this in terms of the application completion process, I am going down to the payment section. Even up to this morning, I had a student who did not know that they had a free chance. A lot of students do not know that they have free chances. And if you go and apply and you pay, but you had a free chance, you will never be able to reclaim the free chance. So you have to use the free chance before you ever pay to write the examinations. Okay, so here are the instructions when it comes to whether you need to pay or whether you have a free chance to write or resit your CXC exams. So if you are a non-national, you are a foreigner living in Trinidad and Tobago, you have to pay all the fees. You do not have a free chance. However, if you are a Trinbagonian, you live in Trinidad and Tobago, and you were born in Trinidad and Tobago, you have citizenship. Here are the different requirements or different benefits, should I say, depending on your status, whether you are a Form 5, whether you are being homeschooled, whether you are a repeater or a first-time adult. So the first one says candidates are entitled to one free chance. Private candidates, you are entitled to one free chance. So, in other words, if you never use your free chance, you do not have to pay, but you need to listen carefully to know whether you have a free chance or not, right? And that is after your initial sitting at the end of Form 5. So if you were in Form 5 this year, last year, year before, and you wrote exams and you failed a few and you want to rewrite them in January 2026, you have one free sitting. Now, even if let's see. Yeah, okay, pretty much. I don't think I need to say anything more about that, right? So if you were in Form 5 and even if you didn't fail any subject, but sometimes some students want to write additional subjects, that free chance, you're still eligible for it. So that means you don't have to pay to register. Your registration will be done fully online. The second one is candidates who are homeschooled are allowed one free sitting. So if you're a child who never attended high school or they are being taught at home, whether it is their parents or whether it's online classes, right? But they are being schooled from home, they have one free sitting, so they do not have to pay to write the exams. Okay, the other one is one free chance is offered at either, not both, but either CAPE or CSEC. So, in other words, if you wrote in Form 5 from your school, you have one free sitting after that, right? And if you write as a lower six or A levels, lower six, upper six, and then you want to write additional CAPE subjects eventually, you will still have that one sitting if you never use it. But let's say, for example, you are in Form 5, or you were in Form 5, and you wrote normal, and you still have your one free sitting, and you choose to write additional subjects or rewrite before going into Form 6, because some students do go into Form 6, then um you use up your free sitting. So that means um you would most likely have to pay to write for what you call it. If you want to write additional subjects at CAPE after you do your normal sitting, you'll have to pay. So those things are very important to note. It also indicates that persons over 18 not attending a public school, if you are not in those government schools, and who have never attempted CXC examinations before are entitled to one free chance. So if you are an adult, 18 or over, you never wrote, you are not attending public school, you never got your subjects, you dropped out of school, etc., you have one free chance where you do not have to pay to write your exams. Another scenario would be candidates who attend private schools may utilize, their one free chance only at their terminal exams at the end of their final year in Form 5. So candidates sitting prior to terminal sittings in Form 5 must pay all requisite fees. So what does that mean? If you are in a private school, not a government school, which is public, but private, a paid, fully paid school, right? A full-time Form 5 student, you only have one chance, and that's when you write in Form 5 as a private student. So that means after that, you don't have an additional chance, really. If it is as a student who's in you are in Form 4 in a private school, you will only, and you choose to write in Form 4 in a private school, then you use up your free chances. Therefore, if you attempt to write any additional exams in Form 5 in a private school, you have to pay. So those things are very important to know. The other thing to note when it comes to nationals, candidates who attend public schools and wish to register to sit in January 2026 are required to pay all applicable fees. So that's just meaning that, okay, if you are a resit candidate, right, and you attend a private school, yes, you are likely to have to pay all the fees. Candidates who have already used or utilized their one free chance must pay all requisite fees. So please note that CSEC or CXC rather database reveals the examination history of all applicants. So if you ever applied before and you never used your free chance and you wasted it, then you just have to pay. And even if you go and say, okay, well, I registered, but I never I was absent for the exam, they have that in their database. It is recorded, so it's going to count as your free chance wasted. Okay, so candidates eligible to pay fees must upload the payment receipts with their online application. So if payment receipts are not uploaded, the application will not be processed and the candidates will not be registered. So in other words, if you have a free chance to resit or to write the exams for the first time with CXC, and you choose to use it for January, you don't need to pay. Your registration will be fully online. However, if it is you are resitting or you already use your free chance and you are rewriting for the second time in most cases, then you have to pay and you must upload the CB and CA forms with the pay, which are the payment receipts in the application before submitting it. Because if you don't, then your registration will not be considered. And it was technically just waste time technically, right? So I hope you all are clear with regards to these free chances and stuff. I am going to head back up to how to register, and for people who need to pay, I will go through the payment breakdown shortly. Why my screen? What's going on here? This thing is not moving. Come on, don't do me that this hour of the day. Okay. I'm just trying to get this to move. Why isn't it moving, man? Don't just give me a moment. I'm going to stop sharing and I'll start back sharing chats now because I don't know why this screen froze. Finally, okay, so it's moving once again. Goodness. All right, so I'm going to reshare my screen. Going to reshare. So for those who are on TikTok and Facebook, I am sharing my screen on YouTube. So if you head over to Be on Top Succeeders Academy's YouTube channel, you would see everything that I'm talking about is also being displayed on the screen. Right. So we already went through who needs to pay and who don't need to pay. The second step in the application process is if payment is required, applicants must obtain the deposit vouchers. I just mentioned that, right? So you have to obtain two vouchers. One is a CA voucher, one is a CB. I will go through them in a while for people who need to pay. Now, if you don't have to pay, this step does not apply to you, right? Step 1 and 2 does not apply to people who have a free chance and they are using their free chance. Now, the third step, you need to have pictures of the following documents available for upload. So you need a photo of your birth certificate. You also need the official receipts for exam fees paid where applicable. So for people who have to pay, you need to provide or have those ready before you do the online registration. If you don't have to pay, it's only your birth certificate from number 3 that you need to have ready when you are completing your application. The fourth requirement, proceed to the ministry's examination page to complete the online application. For those of you who are seeing me on YouTube, I am on the page, so I'm going to send the link on YouTube in the YouTube chat, or I would probably let me see if I can pin it in the comments. So I will just give me a moment. I'm not seeing comments as yet, so I might have to pin it afterwards, but I will attempt to see if I can send it in the live chat and hopefully go through. Okay. Okay, so it came through. Um, why am I seeing myself? Oh, but I sent it from my other I sent it from my other and I realized I'm on my other YouTube channel as well. So you always see Misha CM. I didn't send it from beyond top. That's cool. We could work with it either ways, okay? So continuing what I was saying. Um, Step 5. Include the items at 3, so that's your birth certificate only if you are free or you're using your free sitting, or both your birth certificates and your two receipts, CA and CB, um, before uploading your application. So you all want to always make sure and double check. Now, some of you who are in classes, you should be aware that we do the fully online registration for students. Some students will tell us, well, I want to do my application for themselves. Fine. So this will help them, and also people who are not in classes or elsewhere and don't know what to do, you could follow through with the video. Um, Step 6, receive the automatically generated email as confirmation that your application was successfully uploaded. So once you submit your application, you need to get an automated email. Once, if you do not get an automated email, it means something went wrong, and you may need to contact the Ministry of Education when they are open Mondays to Friday, 8 to 4 p.m. Right? Because I wouldn't be able to see that, because remember, I am not working in the Ministry of Education, right? I am in the private sector, but yes, even though we provide education, we have to work along with the Ministry of Education. So I wouldn't be able to do anything about that specifically. You'll have to reach out to the Ministry of Education if you don't get that automated email. Step 7, only fully completed applications with all necessary documents uploading can be processed. So again, if you are free in terms of your sitting to write, you only need your birth certificate, and then you have to fill out the registration form. I'll go through the registration form after I go through these important details, right? If you have to pay, you have to upload your birth certificate, your CA and CB receipts to show proof of payment, and then fill out the same details, right? Okay, as you all may know, for those who are live or listening, feel free to ask any questions. Once I see them, I'll respond, as long as I should be able to respond. Okay, so moving on again to some more important details. Right, so for new candidates, the name entered on the online registration form must be the same indicated on the candidate's birth certificate. So whatever name is on your birth certificate, that is the name that you need to use. They also indicated that your birth certificate PIN number is required, definitely. And in addition, you would need at least one form of identification card. So, as some of you may be aware, in previous years, the exams used to be, we used to have like hard copies in the exam room. Those things have changed now that the exams is now e-tested and hybrid. So what does that mean? It's right there on the screen for those who are looking on YouTube. It says that for the January 2026 CSEC examinations, no written papers will be provided. So you're not going to get a physical paper by CSEC or CXC. All private candidates must um attempt the paper one, which is a multiple choice paper, electronically. So paper one is going to be fully electronical on a device that they would provide for you. You don't have to work with no device, right? So on the computer by e-testing. And then paper two, which is a structured paper, normally that paper carries about 50% or half of your overall grade, which everyone has to do as well, followed by the paper 3/2, which is the alternate paper for SBAs for private candidates. Those would be done hybrid. So the questions will be displayed on the computer screen, but candidates must write their responses in the answer booklets provided. So you have a booklet to write your answers, but instead of you having the exam paper to skim through to answer your questions, you will have a computer screen that's displaying the questions. Candidates will be provided with a laptop to do their exam. So you are not required to walk with your laptop. The examination body, the Ministry of Education, they will be providing the laptops that are displaying those questions. So moving on again really quickly, some people want to write all kinds of subjects in January, but there's only a specific list of subjects that are available. So here's the list of subjects that you can sign up for in January. Any subject that you do not see for January 2026 will be available in May, June. In fact, all the subjects are available in May, June. So if you want to write biology, you could do it only as a resit for only resit candidates, not for first timers. Chemistry for resit, not for first timers. English B will be available. English A, Human and Social Biology, Information Technology, Mathematics, Office Administration, Physics only for resit candidates, repeaters in other words. Principles of Accounts, Principles of Business, Social Studies, Spanish. So, if anyone wants to write those resit subjects, you have to be a reciting candidate, okay? So those are the only subjects that are available for January. Any other subject, you need to write in May, June. Okay. So I haven't seen any questions come through as yet. So I'm going to go with the flow, continue going through. As I said, oh my, and so at some point I will be sharing what's going on, Lucy? Boy. Yes, at some point I will be sharing how to do the actual registration online for those who want to do it for themselves, okay? But we are not there yet. So for those who don't understand what the reset is about, so reset means that the candidate wants to reuse an SBE from a former sitting. Okay, so the SBE is valid for 2 years. So in other words, if you wrote this year for the first time and you want to reset biology and your SBE had good marks, you can reset in January. But if you don't have like an SBA and papers and stuff, January is not to write biology, chemistry, or physics. So you have up to 2 years, which means from the year you wrote initially. So if you wrote in May, June 2025, you have until May, June 2027. So candidates who wish to reuse the SBA mark obtained in the May-June 2024 or May-June 2025 examinations must select resit. If it is you are reusing an SBA, you have to select resit. If you select alternate, you'll have to do the paper 3. Okay, so the candidate's name on the entry form must be the same as the name on the past paper, the CSEC certificate. So to avoid, because some people change their name or some people end up with an additional surname, especially females when they marry. We get all of that just now. They indicated that you need to use the name that's on your birth certificate to avoid problems, right? And if you are married, you have to like provide a copy of your affidavit and stuff. But we'll get to that in a moment. So candidate must enter their previous candidate number when applying for resit. So if you are resitting, you have to reuse a previous candidate number from May, June, whatever was the center number that you were assigned, you have to use that number. The alternate thing keeps sticking. So alternate means the candidate has no SB. Only school candidates must submit SBA, which is full-time, Form 5, Form 4 students and stuff. Alternate candidate must attempt all papers. Paper 1, the multiple choice. Paper 2, the structure. And paper 3, which is similar but has a little difference to the SB. Okay, let me keep moving here. Why isn't this thing moving? What's going on with my screen? Okay, I think it's moving now. So persons who write in Spanish, candidates applying for Spanish must know that oral examinations will be held during the period the 16th to the 19th of December 2025. Candidates will be informed of their exam dates by email. If no notifications received by the 9th of December, please contact the examination unit. So that's for people who write in Spanish or choose to write Spanish in January. Science subjects, only reset candidates may apply for biology. That means you have an SB and so forth. Chemistry, physics examinations at the January 2026 sitting. And again, the paper 3 is not offered for January exams. So persons who want to write chemistry, physics, biology, and you have no SBA, and you need to use a paper or write the paper 3, you have to wait till May, June. Okay, so in other words, if you don't have an SBA for biology, chemistry, physics, then the only subjects you can attempt at January are the remainders. Okay, so I hope that is crystal clear. Moving on. So it have here that first-time candidates can apply for science subjects at the January 2026 sitting, meaning that you don't have no SB at all. This other section is indicating examination location. So for persons who have to pay, if you do not have to pay and you're using your free sitting, this is not going to apply to you. But if it is you have to pay, then here are the examination centers. You don't have to necessarily, just now, hold on. Am I saying the right thing? You said the examination center. My bad. I said the wrong thing there. Okay, I thought that was the ministry districts. My bad. So this applies to everyone. Okay, so I apologize for that. This section does apply to everyone. So depending on which region you are located in or where you live, you could choose a center in Diego Martin. If you live in Diego Martin, you could choose Tobago, Port of Spain, Chaguanas. Depending on which region you choose, the Ministry of Education will select a secondary school, public more so, to place you in to write your exam. So you don't want to select a region that is way like Okay, if you are living in Miaro, you don't want to select Diego Marte because then it's going to be so far from where you live when it's time for you to attend for or show up for your exam. So you want to choose the regions or the locations where it's closest to where you live. So it's easier for you to get to the examination center. Okay, I already went through who has to pay and who don't have to pay. So here are the fees for people who have to pay. Now, there were a couple of people who were asking me before this registration information was disclosed and made public, how much was fees? And I told them, I said, the ministry increased the fees in 2024 to register for 2025 exams, which already passed. Similarly, they did the same thing the year before. And when I checked this today, I compared it to last year fees, the prices increased again. So that is why when people ask me for fees, I tend to tell them I can give them a guide, but the ministry seems to be increasing the fees almost every year now. Okay, so the CA form. Again, for those of you who have to pay, you need to get the CA and the CB form. It's two forms, not one. Two forms which are in the receipt, right? The CA will have the candidate fee. You pay that once, and then the subject fee. So for every subject that you are writing, you have to pay $171.50. And then the CB form has the administrative fee. So the admin who will be entering your information in the system to confirm that you register and stuff. The oral fee only applies to subjects that have oral, such as Spanish as well, where you have to do oral presentation. Okay, so moving on. So here's an example of what the fees would look like. If you were writing or resitting one subject, $349.25, two subjects. So there's a list up to like six subjects. If it is you um write in Spanish, you have to pay an additional $3. If you write in more than six subjects, you'll have to calculate the fees by adding the candidate fee to the subject fees per subject to the administrative fee. And if Spanish is one of them, you have adding the $3 for Spanish. So cash payments will be made at any one of the following district offices. So you can pay to the district revenue office, any district revenue office. So for those who don't know, it's technically the Ministry of Finance or Inland Revenue, okay? Or you could pay at Victor E. Bruce Building, Market Square, Scarborough, Tobago. Right, so in Tobago, there's only one location. In Trinidad and Tobago, there are multiple inland revenue locations. See what else we need to go through here quickly because I haven't even reached the registration, the actual registration. And I need to get ready for my class just now. All right, so deposit vouchers. Deposit vouchers are available at the Ministry of Education head office and at all education district offices. So deposit vouchers are not available in the district revenue office. So you're not going to get the receipts to make the payments in the Ministry of Finance. You will get them in the Ministry of Education, whether it's head office or district offices. Applicants must visit the nearest district education district office to have the deposit vouchers completed and stand before proceeding to the district revenue offices, which is the Ministry of Finance Inland Revenue. Payment must be made before completing the online registration. Do not go and complete a online registration and then look to pay. You did it wrong-sided and then you will lose out and then you wonder, how I'm not getting to right in May, June. Oh, not May, June. Sorry for January. Okay. So they say that withdrawals. Requests for withdrawals must be submitted in writing or email to the examination unit and will be considered up to the 17th of October. So if you want to withdraw and in order for you to get refunding and stuff, you need to submit before the 17th of October. So in terms of timetables, the timetable is already out. I saw CXC, they made public the January 2026 and May June already. Right, so personal, but the personal. So each person, depending on what subjects you register for, you will also receive personalized timetables. So those same timetables, right? They will give you the date and time of the candidate's examination will be available to candidates during the first week in December. So some people, when they register this month, they'll be like, what they'll be messaging me and all that. They'll be like, Miss, I don't see nothing about whether I get interested right or whether my registration was successful. You have to wait till the first week of December. It's right over here. And that's why reading is so essential. It's essential. Right. So candidates should check the CXC student portal, right? Where a copy of their personal timetable can be obtained. Candidates are required to select 2026 January CSEC, right? Because CSEC is the ordinary level, the O level, and enter their birth certificate, PIN, surname, and date of birth. So if you want to get that copy from the first week or during the first week of December, so candidates are advised that the January 2026 CSEC timetable will also be available on the website. That's the general timetable. It is already there. Know that candidates can attend for their examinations even if they do not receive their personal timetable. So you don't need your personal timetable to show up for the exam, but you need to know when the exams are. So at least view the general timetable as available on CXC's website. So we're getting to the registration part just now. I'm just making sure people know what they need to know and don't make a mess, right? So notification of registration. Candidates are required to visit the Ministry of Education page from Friday, 17th October, that's next month, to verify their registration status. So that's when you will know that your registration was actually successful, whether it was successful or not, right? The candidate listing will show each registered candidate's name, date of birth. You see your examination center, candidate number, and the subject register that you registered for. So once you see your name on that list, you know that your registration was successful. So candidates not on the listing must contact the examination unit, and you need to do that immediately. Because if you delay, they may not be able to help you out to write. So you don't want to delay that if your name is not on the listing. Then we have, well, in terms of special education, well, examination, some people have a special needs and stuff. They will have to complete a particular form, right? And once they get approval with like doctor report and stuff, well, they will have like specialized things that will help them to know what they need to do in order to write the exam, because a special needs child is different from normal people, okay? Then we have candidate identification. Candidates must present a form of valid PITSA ID on the day of the examination. So you can either use your driver's permit, national ID card, or passport. Candidates who are aged 16 years and under who do not have a valid form of ID must provide a passport size picture behind which must be written, I certify that this is true. Sorry, this is a true likeness of the candidate's name. Okay, sorry, I missed something. Of the candidate student's name. So if you don't have any form of ID, you need to get a passport size picture, and this is what you write behind, and you must put your name. in this sentence, right? So I certify that this is a true likeness of the candidate. You put in your name, what it says Melissa Singh, or whatever it is, right? The person verifying must include their signature and ID number. Right? Did I miss something? It must also be signed by any of the following. Okay, yes. So for those who are 16 years or under, your parents, guardian, a teacher, police, or minister of religion, meaning that you are part of a religion, someone needs to sign that to authorize that you are being truthful. So candidates will not be allowed to enter the examination room without a valid PITIA ID. So that's the instructions for that part. So here's the declaration because we are going to move on to the actual registration really, really quickly. So the applicant must verify that the information submitted on the online registration form is true and accurate. The CXC database indicates candidates' previous attempt sittings at January and May June CSEC or CXC examinations. Note that each candidate's examination history is checked and verified when applications are received. Impersonation is an offense, and anyone found impersonating another person will be reported to the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. So you don't want to get charged, so make sure and be truthful. So, with that being said, and all the instructions being clarified, those of you who will be doing your registration, you will scroll down and you click consent, and then you press next to fill out the registration form. So once you press next, you will see the registration form being shown. And then you start to put in your information. Now, I am going to put in some information. All of the information is not really about me. I'm going to make up stuff because if I don't make up stuff, because remember, I'm not going to write no exams. Like, I don't need to. I'm just doing this to show you, all right? Um, so I will just make up stuff just to fill in the information, but I'm not submitting it at the end because I am not going to write the exams again, right? I'm just doing it for should I say demonstration purposes. And also there's certain information about me I would like to have out there, okay? So yeah, I put my first name. I'm seeing things coming up already. Sorry. Yeah. I keep typing my name incorrectly and all goodness. What is going on here, boy? I can't even clear it now. But I guess I'll leave my name like that weird stuff, right? But why isn't it moving on? Just now, hold on. Let me see if I can reload this. Let me see if I can reload. Okay, so I have to do back the whole consent. So you all don't want that problem to occur when you're doing the registration because you might have to redo the whole thing, especially if you reach page 4 and that's time wasting, right? Or time consuming. Okay, so yes, here is how we do this. Put in your name. Um, I'm just going to put, of course, you want to have a capital, let's say your name is, most people know what my name is, but other things I'll not really put in. You choose your gender, you put in your date of birth. So let's say you were born in what year? Um, 1965. That's really old, but let me just put something more reasonable. Let's go with 1998. This is not my real date of birth, right? I just selected random stuff as I mentioned before. You put in your birth certificate pin. I don't know what that is off my head, so I'm just going to put in some weird stuff, okay? Put in your address. Oh boy, okay. Yeah, we can work with that. Um, put in your contact. put in some email. Okay, I could use my email there. Fine, that could work. Put in your ID number, whatever your ID number is, put it in. If you're using a driver's permit as well, but you just need one identification number. You don't need a whole lot. And then when you reach section B, which is your preferred center location, for those who don't know what that is, it means that which area do you want them to place you in a public secondary school to write your exams. So that location should be as close as possible to where you live or work or whatever you prefer. So when you press there, you will see the drop down menu. So if you are from Arima, you click Arima. If you're from Shogunas, press Shogunas. Or if you're from where? Tobago, press Tobago. Tobago is just one location apparently. If you're from Grande, press Grande. So just make sure that whichever region you choose, that's where they are going to select a secondary school to place you to write the exams. Then you press next. What happened here? Oh, okay. It goes on to page 3. In page 3, which is section C, you need to choose all the exams that you are going to write. So if your first subject, if it's biology, or if it's principles of business, choose that. If you press alternate, then it means um you do not have an SBA, and you will be writing the paper 3. If you have an SBA and it's good marks and you can reuse it, we are within the 2-year period from when you first use it, press resit. Okay. And then you do that for all your subjects. If you're going to write English A, if it is you have no SBA, which is a school-based assessment, you have to choose alternate. If you choose resit and you don't have an SBA, then your registration is not going to go through. Right? Resit is only for persons who have an SBA and they want to reuse it. Okay, so I hope that's clear. And you keep doing that for how many subjects that you intend to write. They have up to 8 subjects you can select. Then, if it is you wrote exams before, you put in your previous registration number, right? Your CXC registration number. If it is you never wrote examinations before, you're writing for the first time ever as a first-time adult or young adult or student in general, this part doesn't apply to you, so you can move on. But before you move on, it says, please know that if resit has been checked, meaning if you select resit for your subjects, for any subject above, your May, June 2024-2025 registration number should be entered. So in order for you to choose resit, which means you're reusing your SBA, you have to make sure and put in your registration number. Because if you don't put in your registration number, you could either end up not getting your registration approved or they automatically put you to write the paper 3 as well. So moving on again. So then we reach page 4, we are almost finished. In this section, you have to choose whether you are national, meaning that you are a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, or whether you are a foreigner. So if you're a citizen, press that. If you're non-national, press non-national. And then have you exhausted your free opportunity? Please do not lie. If it is you use your free sitting, you wrote in Form 5 and then you rewrite again and you use your free sitting, press no. If you wrote in Form 5 and you never wrote any exams, but you intend to write in January, the upcoming exams, then you press, well, you have to press yes if you exhaust, sorry, my bad. You have to press yes if you use it up. And if you did not use it, you press no. And also, if it's a private candidate, which is like an adult who never wrote exams before at CXC level, you will just press no, so that means you will be using your free sitting here. And then you press next. At this stage, on the final page, you have to upload your CA and CB form. This only applies to people who had to pay. If you did not have to pay, you just press read this here, the consent, and you press you click it. So by placing it, click in the box above the subsequent submission of this application. application. I confirm that I take full responsibility of the information provided therein. I confirm that to the best of my knowledge, the information provided in this application is true and accurate. I understand that CXC's database reviews all previous attempts by candidates at the January and June CSEC and CAPE examinations. I understand that any attempt at dishonesty or stated inconsistency in the information provided will render the application null and void and will not be processed. So that's what you do if you do not have to pay and you are using your free chat. However, if you are not using your free chance, or sorry, you also need to upload your birth certificate as a candidate who is using their free chance, right? That's the only other thing on this page. But if it is you had to pay, you have to, in addition to everything I just said, you need to upload your birth certificate. The CA form must go here. That's the one with the candidate fee and subject fee. The CB form with the administrative fee and oral fee for those who do in Spanish. And then if it is you haven't had a name change because you got married, or you just, some people pay to change their name and it's different from what's on your birth certificate, then you need to upload a copy of your affidavits. And that's pretty much it. Then you press submit and you're supposed to receive an automated email. Again, if you do not receive that automated email, you know that something went wrong. You need to contact the Ministry of Education Monday to Friday between 8 to 4 p.m. If you see that automated email indicating that your registration was received, you just have to wait until they release the listing on October the 17th, as mentioned. Once you see your name on that listing, you know that everything went well with your registration. If your name is not on the listing, you need to contact the Ministry of Education. Last but not least, yours personalized timetables will be available. They said from the first week in December. So look, keep checking your email the first week in December to get your timetables, and they will also indicate which school that you need to go to complete the registration. So that's it for today. I cannot stay here much longer. I literally have a class that starts in about 11 minutes. I hope that you all are clear on how to complete the registration. Now, for persons who intend to write in May, June, the process is pretty much the same. It's just a different time period, really, right? So everything else is pretty much the same. The course and everything is going to be the same. The instructions is the same. It's just that instead of writing in January, it will be May, June. So y'all take care. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to share with someone. I am out.